given the injuries at that position this season?
Yeah, I think Sean, Khalil, and Trevor have done a great job of getting everybody prepared. You really look back to the spring mini camps, OTAs, training camps of making sure that we rotated guys in at different positions. That's something that I've always believed in personally. Thought we did a good job when I was in LA doing the same thing of like at mini camp, training camp, throwing guys in different positions. And it does cause a little discomfort, even for you guys freaking out about it. But because I remember you asked me the question. No, you guys all, seriously, it was, oh my God, how could they do this? And, but seriously, it's more, the more you can do in this league, right? The more you can do as a coach and as a player is always something that's valued, right? Availability in this league is such a huge deal, and flexibility. And I think our coaching staff, as you mentioned, has done a great job of keeping that group extremely tight-knit, even with shuffling around and guys being a little uncomfortable at times. But it's a selfless position, and we go as they go.
So for this week, how much fun is it to watch Josh
Yeah,
Allen?
he's extremely impressive. I remember, we played him in 2020, and we played him again in 2022, and he did some really good things against us, like stiff arming defenders, throwing the ball down the field a million miles, and I've got a lot of respect for their coaching staff. I know some of the guys on the offensive staff specifically, and to watch him play the competitor, so many playoff games, division, whatever it is, big games, he typically shows up and makes critical plays at critical moments, and that's why he's been an MVP candidate for a long time. Yeah, and Joe. Yeah. Yeah, they're damn good at running the football, man. They are. Aaron Cromer, I've learned a lot of football from him, and just sitting and listening to his meetings, his Friday run game intent meetings when I was in LA. Just going and sitting in his meetings, you learn something every single day, and he's one of the best out there, honestly, if not the best, in terms of how long he's done it at such a high level and at different places doing it. He's extremely, he's cutting edge when it comes to the fundamentals and techniques of the position, and has those guys playing at a really high level.
Playoff football.
Oh, that was cool, man. That was cool. I think Gabe and his girlfriend ended up making it. So it's cool to Ashley to have fun with it, and it was really well made. It was really well made. I was like, man, there's tags on it and everything. I mean, this is something you could sell or something. So that was pretty cool. I do not. Yeah, I do not. I'm not a bedazzled type. More of a no logo kind of type going, but no, my wardrobe is definitely not that blingy.
Hey Liam, there's a stat I saw yesterday. You were 6-1 when trailing after the first quarter, which was the best record in the league in that category. How did you build a team that became so resilient? Because historically, the last couple of years, this is not a team that rallied, but down in the first quarter of the last 2 weeks, come back and win. You've done it all season long.
Yeah, it's an interesting stat. I hadn't heard that one, but I think it's this group specifically, as so many times we've talked after Houston, is really dug in and really treated every week like a playoff game. Trevor, I think, said it best yesterday. It was like we were in must-wins to win the division, and to be in the situation that we're in, we kind of treated them all that way, and it was 1-0 each week. And I think the no flinch, no blink mentality of playing 4-quarter football games and for 60 minutes or longer is the mentality. And so I think these guys, we have enough veterans and enough players on this team that have been through difficult games, difficult years, good winning years, teams. And ultimately, when you have leadership like that and you have continuity and they can then give that information and some of that knowledge to the younger players that haven't been through it, I think that's why you probably see some of the ability to be mentally and physically tough.
You've been around MVP caliber seasons before as a coach. Trevor, this run he's been on, do you think he deserves some consideration for an accolade like that?
I mean, I think so, right? I mean, you're judged as a quarterback by what, your team's record, by winning and losing, by how much you elevate the team, and ultimately what you do in the playoffs, right? So much of that gets, I think, resolved around this time, and the best rise, right? The best rise and the best elevate the people around them. And I think he's continued to do that down this stretch, right? Like so many different names were thrown around for MVP within the first 8 games of the season, and some of those teams aren't in the playoffs. So it's like, how can that be? You definitely, right. Every season does this for so many different teams, different players. It's just the way it goes. And there's so many good players in this league, and some guys get hot early, and then some guys get hot later, and it's really what you do in January that matters.
You went through this process as an assistant last year. Just in case any team, comes want to interview Camp or Grant, what advice would you have for them?
Yeah, look, that's what you ultimately, it's hard to lose coaches. I saw Sean do it every single year, but it is what you want, right? At the end of the day, you do want to continue to grow the game, and you want to surround yourself with good people, and that's what we did try to do here. And so, this week's focus and mentality has to be on Buffalo and has to be on the job at hand. And then whatever happens after that, that's more so. You want those opportunities, though, for guys on your staff. It's hard. It's not something you look forward to having to ever replace. But I was really fortunate to be in that situation last year, and you want to support those guys throughout that process, even though it might hurt you in the long run a little bit. It might hurt you in some ways, but that's why we're in this profession, is to help guys get opportunities, to grow this game, to be able to do those things, and you got to keep hiring good people.
You've seen the postseason before. A lot of the guys in the locker room might not have. Does anything change this week?
No, I don't think so. We have an opportunity to wear pads again this week in practice now that the playoffs start back up. So we may throw pads on this week to be able to go based on our health. And, I think it just gets upticked a little bit, right? It's just the ever-evolving standard of the way that we operate, the way that we walk through, the way we practice, the way that we meet. And then, Sunday at 1 o'clock, it may be a little faster, right? It may be a little bit more physical. I don't know. I mean, I think that's just kind of what you feel when you know it's one and done, right? And when you know you're in a game that it's win or go home. So I'm sure the intensity level will be upticked a little bit, and but I think our guys will be ready for it.
How nice is it to have that game in your backyard at home?
It's great. To play in front of our fans in our community. That's massive. I was watching the game last night at home, the TV copy, and you just saw so many good clips of our fan base in the stands, great signs, and cool support. So you appreciate that, but also from a schedule standpoint for us as a coaching staff and the players, being able to remain kind of in a good rhythm. We'll have the same schedule that we've had for a number of different weeks, and playing Sunday at 1 is a good thing for us.
How much at this point does it take from a color standpoint this week? The stakes are higher, but you can't reinvent the wheel. You have to stick to your stuff.
Yeah. Look, I know Coach McDermott and that staff, they've won a lot of football games and a lot of playoff games, a lot of hard, big games, and they're going to look at everything, right? They're going to look at everything that we've done. They're going to look at what they do and how to combat those things, different ways that we create explosives on offense and vice versa, how to defend those things. I think they're pretty buttoned up that way. So it's really about continuing to find things that you're good at, making them look maybe a little bit different, or calling them at different times, whatever it is. But you can't get away from what has got you here and ultimately what you hang your hat on in so many ways. So it's definitely that chess match that's fun about coaching.
You go through that kind of film study. Do you go back and look at the game that the Bills and the Jags played last year to see how players handled their matchups, or is it kind of thrown away?
I ain't looking at that game. No.
You mentioned it yesterday, but every receiver and tight end that was active yesterday caught a pass. I mean,
Yeah.
just how rare is that to be able to get to everybody?
Yeah, I think it's great. Keeps everybody engaged. It keeps everybody, practice, preparation, knowing that, hey, everybody's number can get called at any time, and it's their job and responsibility to be ready for the moment, whether it's because of injury, whether it's because of substitution, whether it's because of the score. The standard is to be able to go out, perform your job, do your job to the best of your ability, and execute. And championship execution is bred from championship preparation, and that's the standard.
You talked about Quinn Morris has kind of defined what you guys are looking for in a player. How rewarding was it just to see him, get that touchdown?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was actually supposed to be Strange's, but Mundt had come out, and we just had a little switch in the rotation. So Quentin was playing at F, and Brent was at Y, and so I wasn't really calling it for Strange. It was just that's how we had practiced it in the week. But it's great for Quinn. Seriously, he's. I really appreciate Quinn Morris. I really respect his journey, the way that he's continued to help our team win regardless of what the role is. And it started, really big on special teams and gaining the trust of Heath and Luke and myself and the staff on teams. And then, boom, you go on offense and do a good job when your number's called. And that's all we can really ask for.
When you go in the locker room after a win and you yell, how's that feel? Is that something you've always said? Is that something that maybe was spontaneous early in the season, you just let it ride? Where's the origin of that?
My dad.
Is that what he was saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. All my high school buddies text me, and they all reach out to him too and stuff. And, think it's kind of cool that we have the same, that I kind of took that on. It was the same exact, deal he did. We were pretty good when I was playing, so we said it a lot. But he's been doing that. He was doing that, I think, since college. And when he came to coach me in high school, he did the same thing. So I kind of took that one on.
The media department's done such a good job of putting out those first few moments when you walk into the locker room after a victory. Short of like life-altering experiences like marriages and births and things like that, is there any more joyful place in a football locker room after a big win?
No, not many better places, honestly. A lot of work goes into this preparation, a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of physical, emotional, mental time and energy goes into this thing. And to see the players enjoy moments, that was something we talked about Saturday night in the team meeting, was to stay in the moment, to enjoy every moment of that game yesterday, every play. Every single second of the game is its own moment, and to stay in the moment, to live in the moment, and then to enjoy the moment, right? And knowing that there's a lot of work to be done, that nothing is truly, finished right now. I think that a lot of our players said that yesterday is, there's still a lot of work to do right now, and really it gets amplified at this moment. But to enjoy yesterday, that was cool to see the players and everybody juiced up.
Parker touchdown.
Last question.
That Parker touchdown, was that an example of going from the practice field to the game field? It looked like that was something you guys worked on the red zone Friday.
Yeah, we repped that on Friday, where it was a mirrored type concept where Trevor had the ability to kind of give those guys a little audible, or if you will, or a double move off of a route, and he could have done it to either side. So the way we had set it up was so that it could go to either way, and he ended up sending it that way, and it was very similar look to how we had practiced it against the look on Friday. Was the same exact coverage. So yeah, practice performance equals game reality, right? That's so much of what we talk about, and those details that go into every single play, every single moment, that's fun. I mean, we scored the touchdown to Strange was the same exact play that we scored on him in the first game, just out of a different look. So that's what you're ultimately trying to do, right, is give your guys different ways to get to the same areas on the field that you feel like you're trying to attack, but just dress it up a little bit differently. And it's on the players to go and learn those little tweaks and those details throughout the week, put those details in preparation into practice, and then go execute it in those moments in the game. So, yeah, that's rewarding to see for sure.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it.